Hey everybody, it's Mike and welcome to Chip Damage. And today we're talking about the Nintendo Switch. Can you believe this thing is just about 6 years old? Yeah, this thing launched back in March of 2017. And in those 6 years, this thing has gone on to sell just about 118 million units. I want to put that into perspective. If you count this as Nintendo's next home console, that would make it the best selling Nintendo home console of all time, beating the Wii's impressive 100 million units. And if you count this as Nintendo's next portable console, it is the second best selling console of all time, behind only the original Nintendo DS. It has also matched the lifetime sales of the PlayStation 4, and has also matched the lifetime sales of the original Game Boy line, including the Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, and Game Boy Color combined. And as a note, it is also outsold its direct predecessor, the Nintendo Wii U, which I love, but only went on to sell about 13 million units. So it's easy to say the Switch was the rousing success that Nintendo needed right after the failure of the Wii U. And this is kind of surprising, considering that the Wii U, or the Switch as it were, is rather divisive in terms of its graphical power. It is often derided as far weaker than its direct competitors, the Xbox and Sony lineup of consoles. It is the only main console on the market today that is not 4K. Nintendo has never done online fantastically. This is not the console to go for if you want smooth online play. So how has the Switch achieved such success in 6 years that it has with these kind of handicaps? Well, I'll tell you how. Good games. Nintendo doubled down on just making a lot of really good games, whether it be, of course, their fantastic lineup of first-party titles, their third-party titles, their fantastic ports, all on this system that could be taken on the go. And it seems like a gimmick, but it's pretty great, and it's definitely worked out in their favor. An amazing lineup of games from all over the gaming sphere, from like hardcore new IPs, third-party IPs like Astral Chain, to the rousing success of casual games like Animal Crossing and Mario Kart. The Switch kind of has something for everyone, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Some of the rare, weird, and unusual games for the Nintendo Switch. Now, luckily, most of the titles that I'm about to bring up are available digitally, but what we're talking about right now are the physical editions, the rare, the weird, the expensive physical editions that Nintendo has allowed to be made on the Switch. Now, I've pulled a number of these from retailer exclusive stores, online stores. Some of these were limited editions, collector's editions. There's a rather large number of these for the Switch, and we're going to be going over some of them today and talking about their history. Like I said, if you want to just play these games, luckily most of them are available digitally, but this is for the collectors. Some of the odd releases, some of the cool releases that I've picked up in the last 6 years for this console that I've really grown to love. So let's jump into it, shall we? And of course, if you like what you're about to see, if you're a Switch fan, please like and subscribe and go check out some of my other collecting videos. But let's jump into it. So the Switch, I will start to say, has somehow become the JRPG machine of the generation. Of course, the PlayStation line of consoles also has a great number of JRPGs on them, but the Switch kind of combining its home and portable market has really gotten a huge number of these, kind of migrating from the 3DS lineup of consoles. And one of the best early JRPGs on the Switch was this right here, Octopath Traveler, which was originally a Switch exclusive before going to the PC a few years later. And what you're seeing right here is this beautiful Wayfarer's Edition. And what is this? Well, Octopath Traveler was a homage to old 16-bit JRPGs on like the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, but done in a HD style. 2D HD is what they call it. And it has, a classic adventure where you play as sprite-based characters. It's really fun. 8 characters that you can play in any order. And what Nintendo and Square decided to do was release this awesome Wayfarer's Edition that emulates a book, which is very cool. These are kind of hard to find. Even when this first launched, you had to get this kind of early. And just to kind of demonstrate like its roots, it is a pop-up book showing some of the 16-bit dioramas and stages of some of the places that you'll visit during the game. It's very cool. This is kind of delicate, so I don't mess around with this too much. I rarely open this just so like the pop-up doesn't get damaged or, the glue stops sticking. But that was a nice feature in the front of it. But that's not all it came with. It also, of course, came with the game itself, as well as a coin. This has got some weight to it too, of the currency in the game. Like this is like well made. Like this is a decently thick piece, if you could see there too, engraved. It kind of Reminds me of the Oblivion Collector's Edition, which came with a septum. But this is a nice little thing to have, considering that Tesla, one of the playable characters in this game, is a merchant. It came with a cloth map and poster, which I won't open because these are impossible to get back in the plastic, as well as a 14 track CD like song list, some select songs from the game itself. And this is a really nice little collection. Now, like I said, you'd really want to get this for the pop-up book, but that's definitely the nicest feature. And the coin. This coin is awesome, nice and solid. But this is a great little RPG. I mean, I shouldn't say little. It's like 80 hours, despite being, you know, having kind of that 16-bit look. This is a big game that you should definitely check out. Just got a getting a sequel that's going multi-platform. But it all started on the Switch, and one of the best ways you can enjoy this is with this awesome Wayfarers edition for Octopath Traveler. So yeah, but moving on, what else we got over here? Yes, how can we talk about JRPGs without talking about the genesis of a very famous series, and that is the Collection of Mana. Yeah, so what is this? Well, if you've ever played Final Fantasy Adventure in the US, many of us know this. That was actually the first mana, however you want to say it, mana game, which is a line of games that Square has been producing and not giving too much love in the West until recently. However, the third game in the series, Trials of Mana, just got a 3D remake, but right around the time that was getting released, they released this as well, the Collection of Mana, which has Final Fantasy Adventure, which is a Game Boy RPG, the first in the Mana series, and you have Secret of Mana, the Super Nintendo classic, and you have the original, and for the first time in the US, Trials of Mana, being released all on this cartridge here. Now, why is this special? Well, this isn't too expensive yet. But this was an online Square Enix store only exclusive, that's a mouthful, for quite a while. And while the value of this hasn't risen too quickly, JRPGs are collectors and they keep their stuff. So I can see the value of this going up. You could not just walk into a store and buy this in the US and a lot of places. You had to go strictly to the Square Enix online store. And luckily, you can still get it. I do suggest it. These are really fun 2D RPGs that I suggest you check out. And it's got a really nice, like obviously cover art there, but as well as a really nice like reversible cover that you can you know, optionally switch out, put on the shelf. And yeah, it's a great way to hop into this franchise and play some classics, especially Secret of Mana, which is a very beloved Super Nintendo RPG. Definitely highly recommended. But how can we talk about RPGs on the Switch without talking about the big boy? And we're going to just jump at these all at once. And when I mean the big boy, I mean the largest IP in the world, and that is Pokemon. Yes. So the first release of Pokemon on the Switch proper was the remake of Generation 1, the Pokemon Yellow in particular, and that is the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu games, which have mechanics from Pokemon Go worked into the original Generation 1 games, and they're really fun. I really enjoyed this. As a fan of Gen 1 and just Pokemon in general, this is something you should definitely check out. But there was a limited release at the beginning of this game's launch, which came with what is advertised right here, the Pokeball Plus. Now, what is this? Well, these are pretty sought after now. Essentially what they are these little electric Pokeballs that function as Switch controllers. You could actually, like the center of the Pokeball is actually a controller. You turn on your Switch with this. But the main meat of this is that you can transfer your Pokemon from the game into the Pokeball and walk around with it. And much like the Pokewalker of old, the more steps you take, you will get experience and items for your Pokemon that you can then transfer back into the game. So it kind of allows you to, you know, train your Pokemon on the go when you're at work, when you're jogging, whatever. And it's a cool thing. Originally, these also launched with the legendary, or I should say mythical Pokemon Mew in tow, which was the only way to get them in that game. It came in this box, and as you can see on the back, it has Mew pictured, and Mew pictured on the top. Really nice little box for these. And these were available separately for a short period of time as well, but these are no longer being sold regularly and are quite sought after, especially these full boxed editions. This also comes in an Eevee variant with Pikachu, which was the right choice, because who wants Eevee as a starting Pokemon? No offense if you started with Eevee. But yeah, that is the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu Pokeball Plus edition. These go for a pretty penny. It might be cheaper just to buy the game and the Pokeball separately at this point, but I had to have Mew at launch. Come on, how are you going to bait us with just Mew and not, you know, expect us to go the extra mile and pay a few more bucks for this? And sticking with Pokemon, the following year we would have the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, shown here as the Sword version. Now, of course, the game itself is not rare, but what a lot of people don't know is that a year later, after the expansions to these games came out, they released somewhat of a Game of the Year edition, which is what you're looking at here, which came with the 2 Pokemon expansions, the I forget the Isle of Sword and I forget, there were 2 islands that they basically added. I'm sure it says here right on the back, Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. There we go. Sorry, guys. But these launched at $90. There was not a ton of a discount. This was just the game with the expansion that you could walk into the store and have them all in the cartridge, which is nice to have. And they were $90 US to buy these editions. And they did not make a lot of these. They're actually kind of hard to come by. So for future preservation's sake, if you want to have the entire Pokemon Sword or Shield, you have to look for the little bonus expansion pass edition, which, like I said, started at $90 and is now harder to find, a little bit more expensive, but it is the full, complete, end-of-the-day version of Pokemon Sword and Shield, so it may be worth it to pick this one up if you haven't jumped into the game yet. And then, of course, we will do a twofer here. We have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. What you're seeing here is the double pack released only in GameStops in the United States. And essentially, this is yet again a no discount version. This is both versions of the game for $120 US at launch. That came with a few bonuses like some downloadable Pokeballs. But essentially, you're just getting the 2 games together. But the rare part of the package, because Pokemon collectors are insane, is just this outer box. These have gone up in value. They've been doing Pokemon double packs, retailer exclusive, for quite a while. And they continue the trend with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So if you can hunt this down, it's actually a little bit more expensive than if you were just to buy each game individually. But like I said, you get the little download code for Pokeballs and an outfit and whatnot, and you get this nice outer box, which is the same exact thing they did for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Yet again, some downloadable Pokeballs, 200 Pokeballs, and you get both games together at once. But the addition of the nice outer box is something that collectors are feverishly going after, because the value of this, only after a few months, has already gone up. So yeah, let's continue on to another Nintendo juggernaut. We're going to be talking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yes, one of my favorite games of all time. So I don't need to introduce Smash Brothers. You guys know what that is if you're watching this. But at launch, it came with this nice edition at certain retailers, with this nice outer box that shows the launch roster on the sides, as well as a nice embossed front with the front cover art there, just looking fantastic. And this was decently sought after and still is for one main reason, because this was, for a while, the only way to get this beautiful Smash Brothers white and black controller. This is the controller that I use most of the time. These you can buy separately now, but for a while they were kind of hard to get. There's actually not too many Switch Pro controller like variants out there. There's like the Xenoblade one and the Splatoon one, but I must say this might be my favorite. So of course it came with the charger, but just to show the controller itself, which is now resisting coming out of the box. There we go. We have this beautiful controller right there. Yeah, it looks nice. It's got the Smash logo in the back, and it was a nice bonus to have with this game that I plunged hundreds of hours to as I was playing. It also came with this nice steelbook cover for Smash, and there's nothing on this other than the Smash logo. That's it. The inside has a nice shot of Battlefield there, and yeah, it's a nice tin case. And, you know, I had to have this Smash. It's a big reason why I bought this system, was to be able to play this game. And I'm glad it came with that nice controller as well. All right, but moving along, we'll be talking about a game that appears on other systems, but however, this edition is exclusive to the Switch, and that is Mega Man 11, the Amiibo bundle. Yes. So this game came back out in 2018 on multiple systems. However, Nintendo decided to produce a exclusive Mega Man 11 Amiibo. And this is the only way you can get this Amiibo, this figure, is with this edition of the game. These are actually pretty pricey, not just for platformer collectors, Nintendo collectors, but also Mega Man and Capcom collectors. And if you scan the game, if you scan these into the game, you get some bonus items, an energy tank and life, which I believe also work with the standard Mega Man Smash Amiibo. But this one is actually very nice, using Mega Man's design for Mega Man 11, a little bit sleeker, a little older looking. And yeah, these have definitely gone up in value a lot. It's a pretty good game too, even if you don't want to get this edition. I do suggest you play this. I don't think enough people gave Mega Man 11 enough credit. But yeah, the Mega Man Amiibo bundle, that's also a mouthful, which was also coincided with the 30th anniversary of Mega Man, as shown right here on the corner of the box. But yeah, moving on from that, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite Nintendo series, third-party series, I should say, and that is the No More Hero lineup of games. Now, what I have here is very special. What you are seeing is the double release of No More Heroes 1 and 2 from Limited Run Games. So if you don't know what Limited Run Games is, I have some videos describing what they are, describing my collection. They are a online company, online store that does physical versions of otherwise digital-only games. And they've grown to be quite large, and you have to wait quite a while for these after you order them. But they decided to do physical versions of No More Heroes 1 and 2 for the Switch and releasing these beautiful collector's editions that show Travis in both his No More Heroes 1 and 2 iteration. And if you bring them together, they have these fantastic like dual image. And these are actually magnetized on that side, so there's a bit of resistance. So you can like display them just like that, and they look great. And yeah, I love No More Heroes. I'm so glad that they decided to make a third one that premiered on the Switch. And before they did that, they brought 1 and 2 to the Switch. You can still get digitally, but if you wanted these nice editions, you'd have to get them through limitedrungames.com. However, some retailers such as Best Buy in the United States also got the standard edition physical. You can still get these. The price of these are going up a little bit. Shown here is No More Heroes 2. But if you didn't want to spring for the large collector's editions here, you could get No More Heroes 1 and 2 physically in the US through Best Buy for quite a while. These are starting to get a little bit rare. But if you want to check it out, if you want to have No More Heroes 1 and 2 physical to match No More Heroes 3 on the Switch, you can go to Best Buy, bestbuy.com, and still pick these up. So I do suggest that you check it out. And speaking of online stores, we're going back to JRPGs with one of my favorites, and that is .hack GU Last Recode, the physical edition on the Switch. Now, this game came out quite a few years ago, I believe in 2017 for the PS4, and it is a remake of one of my favorite PS2 JRPG trilogies on the PS2, the .hack GU games. What it is, it's volumes 1, 2, and 3, basically one large game all brought together, and as well as a bonus epilogue that is exclusive to this last Recode version. And they finally decided to bring this to Switch last year, or 2 years ago now in 2021, through the Namco Bandai online store. That is the only way you're able to get this on the Switch physically. These are quite hard to find. Not only did it come with the game physically, it also came with a very cool manga prequel, as shown here, that kind of details the main character Haseo's journey leading up to the game. You couldn't get this otherwise other than with this edition, as well as a soundtrack selection for the game, which let me tell you, if you haven't played a .hack game, the soundtracks are phenomenal. So yeah, I love this franchise. I love this series. And even though I already had this game on PS4, I wanted it on the Switch. This is a long franchise, long series of games, so it's nice to have it portably. And I wanted these extra bonuses. Unfortunately, these are sold out on the Bandai Namco store, so you'd have to get them secondhand. I've seen the value of these go up quite a bit, but if you have the extra money, you can't go wrong with .hack. If you only ever heard of it, it is worth it. It is worth checking out, and Switch is a great place to play these. So yet again, sticking with the JRPGs, we'll be talking about a game that was announced before the Switch launched, and was one of the main reasons I picked the Switch up early, even though I had to wait until 2021 to play this, and that is Shin Megami 5, in particular the Fall of Man edition. Now, I have an unboxing of this game, and since then I have actually played this game, and this is a fantastic game. Continuing on with Atlus's mainline series of Shin Megami games, of which Persona is a spinoff of. Part 4 coming out on the 3DS in 2013, and Part 3 coming back in 03 or 04 with Shin Megami Nocturne. Shin Megami 5 is, at the time of this recording, a Switch exclusive and was announced way back in 2017. And I needed to have the collector's edition of this. This game not only looked cool and was good, but it had a wonderful collector's edition. Shown here is the silhouette of the main character, which I'll spin around. And when you open this up, you get quite a few goodies. You get a Shin Megami bag, which I'm going to leave in there because, yet again, that's hard to get. But if you can see, has Jack Frost in the corner, the company mascot. It has a very nice steelbook of the game with an outer slipcase right there, showing the main character as well as a number of gods and demons. Very cool. Pop that open, you have some reverse art of the main character in both his forms. And like I said, it comes in this nice outer slipcase to keep it nice and shiny. As well, there's some more goodies in here though, guys. You have the 2-disc soundtrack showing the main character on the cover. Quite a few songs listed there. And my favorite piece in this collection is definitely this book, which is kind of like this Solomon's Key, the forbidden book of demons. And this literally, and I won't go too far into this, shows you every, or just about every demon, angel, monster, and god that you will encounter. And they're beautifully drawn art, and gives you a synopsis of who they are, what they are, where they're from. And I've gone through, this is like a 100-page art book, and on every page they show 2 or 3 of the gods and demons. And it's very cool to see them in the classic Shin Megami style, and you get a quick primer on them. They're pulled from all over mythologies, from all over the world, Eastern, Western, religious, folk tales. Really cool. If you don't know, Shin Megami is fantastic for kind of bringing those characters to life in a new way, in a new and exciting way. So yeah, this is still somewhat available. I know this is getting kind of rare, but the game has been out for almost 2 years at this point, so I can imagine that the value of this is only going to go up. Play the game regardless, but if you have the extra money, I definitely suggest this fantastic Fall of Man edition for Shin Megami 5. Only on the Switch still. That was surprising. But yeah, moving along, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite series on the Switch. One of my favorite series of all time, and that is the Bayonetta games. Yes. Now, I've done an unboxing video of this as well. We are looking at the Bayonetta 3 Collector's Edition, the Trinity Masquerade Edition, as it were. And I love this game, love this franchise. Glad to see that it was all brought to the Switch. And with it all being brought to the Switch, people needed to catch up on the franchise if they hadn't played it. So Nintendo was very gracious with this, and we're going to pop this open, and I'll show you how. So, popping this beautiful, let's one more time at that. This art is raised. It is so nice. You get this. You get basically what is essentially, and I don't have the hard copy here, a frame, a picture frame of what you could put the 3 titles in. At the moment, I'll just put in these. And you could display, of course this is fighting me at the moment, all the whole series at once. Up to 3 Switch cards can be held and displayed. And the idea was, it came with, this collector's edition in particular, came with the empty cases of Bayonetta 1 and 2 that you could put your games in, along with the copy of 3 that it comes with. And you could put them on display and have the whole series of Bayonetta all in her glory. Nice little bonus. As well as this fantastically huge art book, which I have not opened up yet, called The Art of Bayonetta 3, which is just, when I do open this up finally and look through it, I know it'll be worth it. Bayonetta's always had fantastic art. And yeah, not much. This was $90 US at its launch, but it was worth it just to have the bonus Bayonetta 1 and 2 cases if I all want to put them on display, as well as the art book. And just the box itself is a really nice display piece. If you haven't played it, the game is fantastic. Or if you haven't played the series, it's one of, if not my favorite action game franchise of all time. Particularly the second game is like in my top 3 games like ever made. So I highly, highly suggest it. And that is a good way to start is with the Bayonetta 3 Trinity Masquerade Edition. But moving on, you just got kind of a taste of it. Bayonetta 1 has an odd release on the Switch, an odd release history. Originally being a digitally only title that was included with physical editions of Bayonetta 2, it would later go on, right before the launch of Bayonetta 3, to finally get its own physical edition, which is what you've seen here. And this was somewhat retailer exclusive. You couldn't get this everywhere. For $30, you can get a physical edition of Bayonetta 1 on the Switch. And even though this game is available on other consoles, only the Nintendo version, such as the Switch and the Wii U version, have bonus Nintendo-themed costumes, such as a Star Fox costume, Metroid costume, Link costume, all for Bayonetta, which actually do have exclusive features to them, such as like extra moves. So a good way to play this franchise, a good way to start it off is with this Bayonetta 1 physical edition on the Switch. But even if you can't get this physical edition, I highly suggest that you play this franchise and check it out. There are some limited releases, as I've shown, but man, do I love this series. All right, and speaking of series I love and is very beloved in itself, we are, of course, going to talk about the Xenoblade series of games. Yes, starting right here with Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the special edition. Xenoblade is definitely getting up there as one of Nintendo's premier RPG series. This launched in the end of 2017, the Switch's first year, and as a fan of the Xeno games prior, Xenogears and Xenosaga, as it were, I wanted this collector's edition. And I gotta say, Monolith Soft has yet to kind of fail me in the collector's edition department. As you can see, it's huge and it has beautiful art of all the characters right on the front there. Nice white showing on the titles on the sides. And yeah, let's pop this bad boy open. Now this is very sought after. This series is always, every collector's edition of this series just gets rare. There was a debacle with the collector's edition of 3, which I don't have to show at the moment. But what did this edition come with of Xenoblade 2? Well, obviously that beautiful outer box. It came with a nice tin case for the game itself with that same art on the front, as well as the Zohar, the gate, the conduit, whatever you want to call it on the back. If you know what this is, good for you, but if you don't, it would take me an hour to explain. Pop that open, you get beautiful art of Rex and Mithra standing in a grass field there of Elysium, as well as a very nice small soundtrack sampling of the game. Not all the music's in there, this game is huge, but it's got a really beautiful case. That is a soundtrack sampling. And yet again, what a collector's edition be without a fantastic looking art book, as shown here. Quite a decent size there. This is still in the plastic. I may keep this one in the plastic. But yeah, that is it for the Xenoblade 2 collector's edition. And I must say, like, Xeno, they've been giving a lot of love, Nintendo has, to the Xeno series in recent years, and it deserves it. The size and scope of these games is kind of unmatched. They've done work on Breath of the Wild, you know, the premier Nintendo series, Zelda, and there's bonus Xenoblade costumes in that, and I'm glad that they've been giving it a lot of extra love. And a sign of that extra love is the re-release of Xenoblade Chronicles 1, originally a Wii title that would go on to be a 3DS title, and is now has a definitive edition on the Switch in this absolutely gorgeous pure red box. As you can see, just got the title and a silhouette of the Minato on the front, just the title and some screenshots on the back. And this thing is solid Nintendo red, same color as the Minato. I truly love this. I mean, this Switch logo kind of blends right into the corner there. And yeah, but if you haven't played this series, this is the best place to start. It is very hard to go back to the Wii, and especially the 3DS versions. This game just really prettied it up. So what does this Monolith Soft Edition comes with? Well, surprise, surprise, it comes with another art book in the style of the other one in Xenoblade 2, with Mechonis there on the front, Bionis there on the back. Nice size to it, good weight. This is called the Definitive Works for the Definitive Edition, how apt. And that comes in, well, a slipcase inside the game, inside the outer box, showing the Minato there, which protects it while it's in the box. Just a nice little bonus right there. And then within that, you can slide that into this extra outer casing, which also houses a standard game case. No steelbook for this one, unfortunately. And on the back, you yet again have a piece of the silhouette of the Minato. So you put the book in that slipcase, you put that slipcase in this cardboard, and then you have that, and then you put that cardboard right back into the outer box, and that is the definitive edition, always fun to say, of Xenoblade Chronicles 1. One of my favorite collector's editions on the Switch, and probably one of my favorite games on the Switch, as it were. But one more piece for Xenoblade today, and that is the physical edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country. So what is this? Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had a good amount of DLC within its first year of life, a large story campaign ranging from 20 to 40 hours, along with a number of costumes and bonus missions and challenges. And you could buy those all digitally and add them directly into that game, or you can buy them separately as this physical edition, as shown here. Now, there is no real inherent benefit or detriment to having it physically or digitally otherwise, but this originally launched at $40 and is quite valuable at this time. This became quite sought after and must have had a low print run. I had to pay a pretty penny to get this, and it's just nice to have the DLC in physical form. Yet again, you can download it directly to your Switch and it'll apply itself to Xenoblade 2, but this is kind of treated as its own separate game, which I think is neat, the story campaign, and it has the DLC that transfers right into your Xenoblade Chronicles 2 edition. So yeah, if you want to kind of have the full physical set, you got to pick this up. That is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country, the physical edition. And onto the last game we'll be talking about today. I love this. This is another game brought to us by our friends at Limited Run Games. This is something I had to have, and that is the absolutely beautiful Neo Geo Pocket Color Selection of Volume 1. And yeah, I have two editions of this. As you see, I have the large limited collector's edition right here, which is just very oddly shaped, but I love it, and the regular standard physical edition. And what is this? Well, the Switch has been the only console that has been porting, bringing up to modern players Neo Geo Pocket games. If you don't know what the Neo Geo Pocket is, I have a whole video on it. Go check it out. But it was long and the short of it is a fantastic little powerful handheld from 1999 that's kind of been forgotten by time, made by SNK, but had a number of fantastic titles that have luckily been brought to the Switch and just the Switch over the last 2 years, and they continue to do this. They're working on a part 2 of this, a volume 2. And in particular, volume 1 here has 10 titles, some of which you see the characters for on the cover there. But just to go through them, it has SNK Gal Fighters, Samurai Showdown 2, King of Fighters R2, The Last Blade, Fatal Fury First Contact, Match of the Millennium, Metal Slug First Mission, Metal Slug Second Mission, Big Tournament Golf, and Dark Arms Beast Buster 1999. You could buy most of these games individually, or you could buy them for $40 all in a bundle digitally on the Switch. However, I love SNK and I love Capcom, so I wanted to have this physically, so I decided to spring for the physical edition from Limited Run Games, and this is just a great display piece. This comes with an art book inside of it, as well as a physical edition of the game, which you could see right here. And yeah, if you're a fan of really good 8/16-bit sprite work, good little fighting games, a good Metal Slug game, I suggest you definitely download this, whether they be the individual titles or not. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart. The more love that the Neo Geo Pocket gets, the happier I am. And I'm so happy that Limited Run decided to do this wonderful and kind of hard to get at this point physical edition for this game. Just look at that art. That's fantastic. You got my boy Terry Bogard, you got Ryu, Kyo Kusanagi on there. It's just, it's so cool. Mai Shiranui. Yeah, this one I keep out on display. And that's something I could say for like a lot of these games, is that not only do they have fantastic content, but they're just really nice display pieces, whether they be like, you know, Bayonetta looking all nice, shiny and embossed, or the Xenoblade red box. Yeah, Nintendo and the distributors of and producers of these games have been really nice with the displayable collector's editions. And that just about does it. That brings it up, wrap up to this video. And of course, there will be more. There are a lot more games on Switch. There's a lot more collector's editions that I haven't shown today. And we'll do a part 2 video of this sometime in the future. But that's what I wanted to show you guys today. And please let me know, in general, what do you think of the Switch? What are some of your favorite games? Do you have some of these editions? Were you able to get these? Did you miss these and wish you could get them? Like, were you part of that Xenoblade 3 debacle that happened late last year? I want to know. What do you think is in the future of the Switch? What do you think the next Switch will be? I want to hear it, guys. And of course, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. So thank you for joining me for another collecting a video. If this is your first time, I hope you enjoyed it. Please go check out some of my other videos if you did like it. And I'll be sure to make another one of these soon for the Switch, because this system just has so much goodness in that little package. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. My name is Mike. This has been Chip Damage, and please take care of yourself.